Bill Yates and his wife, Joan, lived together in a small but comfortable apartment in the heart of the city. Both were 26, having tied the knot at 22 after a whirlwind romance that had consumed them from the start. Just a short while ago, they had marked their 4th wedding anniversary. To anyone looking in, their relationship appeared strong, affectionate, and unwavering despite the demands of their busy professional lives. Bill was tall and lean, standing just over 6 feet, with light brown hair that always looked slightly disheveled, no matter how he styled it. Joan, on the other hand, was 5'6" with a softer frame, not model thin, but with curves that drew attention wherever she went. Her light brown hair framed her face in a way that gave her an air of innocence, like the approachable girl next door who had grown up playing with the neighborhood boys, yet somehow always seemed set apart. Bill earned a good living as a plumber, a trade that was both essential and profitable in their city. Even the simplest repair often required a professional, and his reputation for skill and reliability meant steady work and steady income. Joan had only recently finished law school and secured a position at a reputable mid-sized law firm. Her salary was respectable, though Bill's earnings still surpassed hers for the time being. From the outside, they looked like the picture of a devoted couple. Despite long hours and packed schedules, they carved out time for one another, time filled with tenderness, intimacy, and passion that could swing between gentle and fiery. Joan had experienced a few relationships before Bill, while his own past was livelier, with plenty of women drawn to him over the years. But once he met Joan, she became the center of his world. He had eyes for no one else. Their story had begun at 21, when they crossed paths in a crowded, dimly lit nightclub. By the following year, they were married, believing wholeheartedly that they had found their forever. Coming from large families, both longed to start one of their own. Joan, however, was pragmatic. Her firm would not look kindly on her getting pregnant too soon. Still, she made her wishes clear at home. Together, they created a plan: save money. She would stop birth control, and by the new year they would move west, settle down, and try for their first child. Bill, confident in his trade, knew he could easily find work anywhere. Their future seemed written, ready to unfold. But as the months rolled by, unease began to grow in Joan's heart. She started to feel trapped by the permanence of their plan, burdened by a choice that offered no return. More troubling still, there was someone at her firm who unsettled her in ways she hadn't expected. His name was Jake Bade, 36, tall, charismatic, a recruiter from the company's main office. He had an aura that drew people to him naturally, and Joan was no exception. She enjoyed his presence, but insisted to herself that she loved Bill. When Jake began showing interest, she tried to set firm boundaries. She was married and off-limits. But Jake was persistent. His lingering glances and flirtatious comments tested her resolve, until one afternoon he invited her to lunch. When they parted ways afterward, he leaned in and kissed her, quick, unexpected, leaving her shaken, guilty, yet strangely stirred. She didn't know why she allowed it, nor why it sparked something she couldn't ignore. Joan wasn't naive. She knew exactly where that path could lead, and how dangerous it might become. Jake was handsome, confident, and worldly, but he would soon return to the main office 1,000 miles away. Nothing more than work stress. Jake, sensing her wavering, pressed further. He suggested one final escape, a weekend at a lakeside resort, just the two of them. 3 days of indulgence, then closure, no strings attached. Joan's first instinct was to refuse outright. She wouldn't cheat, she wouldn't betray her vows. And yet the guilt of entertaining his advances and of keeping them from Bill weighed heavily on her. Then Jake proposed something even bolder. Tell Bill. Ask him. Present it as one last adventure before parenthood tied them down. If he truly loves you, Jake said confidently, he might even agree. That night, as Joan and Bill lay in each other's arms, moving together with a rhythm that had become second nature, her mind betrayed her. Even in the warmth of her husband's embrace, she saw Jake's face. When their passion ended, she pressed against Bill lovingly, kissed him, and whispered with tenderness. He responded softly, still lost in their closeness. Then Joan took a deep breath and broke their world apart. "I met someone at work," she said carefully, her voice trembling. Bill's body went rigid beneath her touch. She explained haltingly, Jake, from the central office, was leaving soon. He had invited her away for a weekend. She insisted she would never sneak around, never lie, but she wanted to know if Bill might allow it, just this once, before they began building their family. Bill stared at her, disbelief etched across his face, as if waiting for her to laugh and admit it was a terrible joke. But no laughter came. The pain that crossed his features was raw, sharp, and fleeting before it hardened into a mask of silence. Without a word, he rose, walked into the bathroom, and locked the door. Joan pressed herself against the wood, pleading through the sound of rushing water. Inside, Bill stood beneath the hot spray, letting it run over him like it could wash away the gaping wound her words had carved into him. She had been his anchor, his everything. Now all he felt was devastation, something shattered beyond repair. When he emerged, he moved mechanically, drying himself, brushing his teeth, packing essentials into a small travel kit. Joan clung to him, crying, swearing she would never follow through, begging him to believe her. But his silence was impenetrable. He dressed quickly, folded his clothes neatly into a bag, and without so much as a backward glance, walked out the door. It slammed shut behind him. The cold night air bit at his skin as he hailed a cab. By midnight, he had rented a car and was driving west, his phone buzzing incessantly on the seat beside him until he switched it off. Hours later, he checked into a roadside motel, collapsed onto the bed, and drifted into uneasy sleep. Morning brought grim clarity. Over coffee at a diner, he scanned the classifieds and spotted an ad. A plumbing company in Mountain City needed workers. He made the call, then removed the battery from his phone and replaced it with a burner from a convenience store. By noon, he had the job secured and a small room rented. He sent a vague email to his parents. He had left Joan, they should manage his accounts, and he wanted no contact with her. Curiosity eventually got the better of him. He asked a close friend back home to keep an eye on Joan. Soon reports came in. Joan's emails were flooding his inbox, apologies at first, then desperation, then anger. He deleted them all without reading. His friend confirmed what he had feared. Joan had turned to Jake. Photos surfaced of the two at the very resort she had once begged him to allow. Bill felt nothing but confirmation. His decision was final. He filed for divorce, hired a lawyer, and even explored legal action against Joan's firm. Time marched on. Joan attempted to reach his family, insisting she hadn't actually gone through with it, that she hadn't slept with Jake. But for Bill, even asking had been betrayal enough. His silence cut deeper than any accusation. Bill built a new life. His new job paid well. He dated casually, though trust came slowly and cautiously. Meanwhile, Joan's world fell apart. Jake's marriage ended, his career faltered, and Joan herself spiraled downward. She rented a small room near her office, haunted by memories of what she had destroyed. A year later, Bill's friend delivered the final blow. An envelope appeared on Joan's desk containing photos of her with Jake at the lakeside resort, accompanied by notice of the lawsuit. With no fight left in her, she signed the divorce papers without contest. The settlement cost her dearly, $175,000. Jake's reputation crumbled. And Joan? She was left alone, sitting in silence, staring at the wreckage of her life.